Train your mind like a millionaire, ladies and gentlemen. Success doesn't start in your bank account. It starts in your mind. The difference between the average life and the extraordinary one isn't luck, talent, or even timing. It's mindset. Wealthy people don't just make money, they think in ways that create it. They've trained their minds like a finely tuned machine, focused, disciplined, and resilient. Today, I'm here to tell you that millionaire thinking isn't a gift, it's a decision. And once you learn to train your mind like a millionaire, the world will open doors you didn't even know existed. So if you're ready to rewire your thoughts, raise your standards, and step into the mindset of wealth, let's begin. You can't have $1 million dream with a minimum wage mind. Said it all begins in the mind. If you want to change your life, you must first change your thinking. A millionaire dream will never survive in a mind trapped by limitation, fear, or lack. You see, the world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are prepared to receive. The person earning $1 million doesn't just have more money, they have a different mental operating system. They think differently, they process challenges differently, they approach opportunities with a boldness that comes from clarity, belief, and preparation. If your dream is big, your mind must be even bigger. You can't be thinking survival and expect to live in abundance. You can't be afraid to invest in yourself and then wonder why life isn't investing back in you. The minimum wage mindset is not about income, it's about self-perception. It's thinking small, playing safe, and choosing comfort over growth. It's believing that success is for other people, that the best days are behind you, that risk is to be avoided at all costs. That mindset will keep you clocking in, clocking out, and wondering why nothing changes. But millionaire thinking, oh, that's a different game. It's not just about making more money. It's about making more of yourself. It's knowing that wealth starts inside, long before it shows up in your bank account. To train your mind like a millionaire, you must first unlearn everything that's keeping you poor. Not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Most people were trained to play it safe, to avoid mistakes, to get a job, keep their head down, and settle for security. But a millionaire doesn't settle, they stretch. They know that the comfort zone is where dreams go to die. They understand that the price of growth is discomfort, and they're willing to pay it daily, not occasionally. Not when they feel like it, daily. You've got to ask yourself, what beliefs am I holding on to that are holding me back? Do you believe success takes too long, that you're too old, too young, that rich people are greedy? That money changes people. If those thoughts live in your mind, wealth will never take root there, because your belief system is the thermostat of your life. You can only rise to what you believe is possible for you. If your mind is set on limitation, it will reject every opportunity that looks like risk. It will rationalize failure, procrastinate on action, and resist change. But if you shift your thoughts, you shift your future. Period. Millionaires don't think in terms of cost. They think in terms of value. They don't say, how much will this cost me? They ask, what will this return if I commit? Whether it's a book, a mentor, a course, or a new habit, they see every investment in themselves as a seed. And they don't expect overnight miracles. They understand compound growth. They don't read one book and expect to be a genius. They read daily. They learn continuously. They train like champions, knowing that their mind is their most valuable asset. The truth is, most people are trained to consume, not create. They scroll instead of study. They react instead of reflect. They chase distractions instead of chasing purpose. Millionaires are creators. They are problem solvers. They look at the same world, the same economy, the same 24 hours, and they ask, how can I serve, build, innovate, and grow? That question changes everything. It takes you from victim to visionary. And that's a shift you must make if you want to train your mind for wealth. Now let's talk discipline. A millionaire mindset is not a flash of motivation. It's a habit of action. It's waking up and doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. It's saying no to what's easy so you can say yes to what's meaningful. It's reading when others are sleeping. It's thinking when others are talking. It's creating when others are complaining, because the mind becomes what it's fed. And if you feed it laziness, excuses, and distractions, don't be surprised when your life reflects the same. You want to train your mind like a millionaire? Start guarding your inputs. What you read, what you listen to, who you spend time with, all of it matters. You can't hang out with people who complain about life and expect to rise above it. You can't binge on drama and expect peace. You can't absorb scarcity and expect abundance. You've got to curate your environment like your life depends on it, because it does. Let me leave you with this. Dreams die in doubting minds. Every person who's ever built something great first believed it was possible. Long before they had the money, the team, the applause, they had belief. And that belief came from a trained mind, a mind that refused to bow to fear, a mind that chose growth over comfort, a mind that understood this truth: if you want to live like a millionaire, you must think like one long before the world sees your value. You must see it first, so today, make the decision to raise your standards, to silence the voice that says, I can't, and amplify the one that whispers, watch me. Because when you train your mind like a millionaire, you don't just build wealth, you build a life worth living. Success isn't something you pursue, it's something you attract by the person you become. We live in a world obsessed with chasing. Chasing money, chasing titles, chasing recognition. But here's the truth most people never learn. The more you chase success, the more it runs. Because success doesn't respond to pursuit, it responds to preparation. It doesn't follow effort alone, it follows alignment. You don't get success by going after it with desperation. You attract it by becoming the kind of person it can't ignore. That's the secret the great ones understand. They don't beg for opportunities, they become opportunities. They don't seek validation, they build value. They don't hope to be chosen, they prepare to be undeniable. The average mind believes success is something out there, a thing to find, to grab, to chase down. But the millionaire mind knows it begins inside. It starts with character. It grows with discipline. It multiplies with vision, because success is not a race, it's a reflection. It mirrors who you are when no one's watching, what you're doing when nobody claps, and how deeply you commit when motivation is gone. If you want more, you have to become more, and that's not a slogan. It's a strategy, a transformation of who you are at the core. Think about it. When was the last time you saw someone who built lasting success without first building themselves? You won't, because the level of success you attract is always equal to the level of person you become. Not who you pretend to be, not who you talk about being, but who you are, the habits you keep, the energy you bring, the value you create. If you want to change your income, change your input. If you want to shift your results, shift your routines. Success doesn't care what you say, it pays attention to what you do. You don't need to chase people. Become the kind of person people chase. Become so excellent in your field that the world can't help but notice. Be so reliable, so committed, so refined in your craft that you no longer knock on doors, they open for you. That's what it means to attract success. You've done the work, you've paid the price. You've cultivated the character, and now success is drawn to your gravity. But that kind of gravity doesn't come from shortcuts. It comes from the compound interest of daily growth. Small disciplines practiced over time, without applause, without excuses. Reading a few pages every day, thinking intentionally, planning your time. Showing up with excellence even when nobody is watching. Speaking with integrity when it would be easier to cut corners. These things don't look glamorous, but they build a life that glows with substance. Because who you are in the shadows determines what you attract in the spotlight. People often say, when I make it big, then I'll start working on myself. No, you work on yourself to make it big. You don't become disciplined after success. You become disciplined for success. The dream is not the beginning, it's the result. The beginning is becoming focused, becoming consistent, becoming aware of your weaknesses and committed to strengthening them. Every day is a vote for the kind of person you're becoming. Every choice is a seed. You're either planting habits of greatness or habits of regret. Let's talk about identity. You can't attract $1 million life with $100 dollar self-image, your results will always default to the level of your self-worth. If deep down you don't believe you deserve success, you will sabotage it every time it gets close. That's why millionaires don't just build businesses, they build belief. They feed their minds with possibility. They surround themselves with elevation. They protect their environment like it's sacred, because it is. You cannot become who you're meant to be while constantly swimming in doubt, drama, and distraction. So, take inventory. Who are you becoming when no one is watching? Are you becoming sharper, wiser, more resilient? Or are you stuck in the cycle of hoping success will find you while you do nothing different? The mirror will always tell you the truth. You don't attract what you wish for. You attract what you are in the process of becoming. So the better question isn't how do I get more success? It's how can I become the person success is looking for? Becoming is not an event, it's a lifestyle. It's not what you do once in a while, it's who you decide to be every single day. When you make growth your identity, success becomes the byproduct. It finds you in your flow. It meets you in your discipline. It rewards you in your patience. And when you do this long enough, you don't have to chase doors. They swing open before you even knock. Here's the final truth. You were never meant to run after success like it's some prize in the distance. You were meant to rise into it, to shape yourself so completely that success recognizes you as one of its own, and that begins not with chasing, but with becoming. Discipline is the bridge between your mind's potential and your wall. It's reality. There's a silent force that separates dreamers from doers, wishers from winners, the average from the unstoppable. And that force is called discipline. It is the bridge between what you could do and what you actually accomplish. You can have the sharpest mind, the boldest vision, and the biggest ambition, but if you don't have discipline, it all stays locked inside your potential. And potential without discipline is just untapped power. It's the song never sung, the book never written, the business never built. You don't need more inspiration. You need more execution, and execution doesn't come from motivation. It comes from discipline. Discipline is doing what must be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's the daily decision to honor your commitments over your comfort. It's what builds consistency, and consistency is what builds greatness. Millionaires understand this at their core. They don't wait for the mood to strike. They don't need to feel ready. They've trained their minds to obey their values, not their feelings, because feelings are fleeting, but values are foundational. Discipline isn't a punishment, it's a form of self-respect. It says, I believe in my future enough to do the hard things now. Most people want success in convenient doses. They want results without routine, freedom without focus, wealth without work. But that's not how the game is played. You get paid for the value you bring to the marketplace, and the value you bring is a reflection of your habits. The disciplined mind sharpens its skills, controls its time, and feeds its growth. While the undisciplined mind waits for the perfect moment, the disciplined mind creates one. It knows that there will always be distractions, always be reasons to quit, but it chooses to show up anyway. Let's get clear. Success is not complicated, but it is demanding. It doesn't show up because you want it. It shows up because you're prepared for it. It shows up because you've built the habits, the routines, and the mindset to sustain it. The difference between a millionaire and someone who struggles isn't intelligence, it's consistency. It's what they do every single day when no one is watching. Discipline is built in the dark. It's forged in those quiet hours where you choose study over sleep, strategy over scrolling, planning over partying. You don't stumble into excellence, you train for it, and training isn't something you do once, it's something you do daily. If your goals matter, then your habits must reflect that. Discipline is not about perfection, it's about persistence. You won't always feel motivated, but you can always be committed. And commitment means you do what's required, not just what's comfortable. You get up early, you stay late, you follow through. That's what millionaires do. Not because it's easy, but because their future is worth it. Think about it. Your mind is a powerhouse of ideas, creativity, and strategy. But without discipline, those ideas remain unorganized, that creativity stays unfocused. The strategy becomes nothing more than theory. It is discipline that takes the vision in your head and turns it into the reality in your hand. It connects your intentions to your income. It's the mechanism that brings your inner world into alignment with your outer world. You can read all the books, attend all the seminars, listen to all the motivational talks. But if you don't apply what you've learned, it's useless. And application demands discipline. It's not glamorous, it's not flashy, but it works. Discipline is what gets you to the gym when your body says no. It's what keeps you writing when the page feels blank. It's what keeps your business going when the sales slow down. It's not talent that gets people to the top, it's relentless follow through. Millionaires treat time like gold because they know it's the one currency you never get back. They plan their days, they prioritize, they cut out what doesn't serve their mission. They protect their mornings, they guard their evenings, they use structure not as a cage but as a ladder to freedom. The undisciplined person sees routine as restriction. The disciplined person sees it as liberation. Because once you own your schedule, you own your life. Here's the truth that most won't say. Discipline feels hard in the moment, but regret lasts far longer. Skipping the grind might feel good now, but it will cost you later. Discipline might sting in the short term, but it pays in the long term, and the longer you practice it, the stronger it becomes. What once felt like sacrifice becomes your new normal. What once felt impossible becomes automatic. That's the magic of discipline. It rewires your identity. You start seeing yourself as someone who follows through, someone who doesn't negotiate with excuses. So ask yourself, are your habits leading you toward your vision or away from it? Are you building momentum or delaying destiny? Because every day, every hour, every decision is a brick, and you're either building a palace of purpose or a prison of procrastination. Millionaire minds don't just dream, they do. They don't just plan, they produce. And they do it consistently, not because they're superhuman, but because they've built the muscle of discipline. And you can, too. Remember, your mind holds incredible potential, but it's discipline that unlocks it. Your wall, it is just a mirror. If you want to change what you see in that mirror, you must first change what you do daily. That's the bridge, that's the key, that's the path to a life not just of success, but of significance. Don't wish it were easy. Train your mind to be better. Life was never meant to be easy. It was meant to be earned. Every obstacle, every challenge, every hardship, it's not there to break you, it's there to build you. The problem isn't that the path is hard. The problem is that too many people expect the path to be smooth. They wish for less difficulty instead of developing more strength. But here's what the millionaire mind knows. Wishing it were easier is the wrong prayer. The real power lies in training your mind to be better. Stronger, smarter, more focused, because when your mind is right, nothing can stop you, not failure, not fear, not circumstances, not even time. The world doesn't owe you ease. It offers you opportunity. But it disguises that opportunity in challenge, and unless your mind is trained, you'll miss it every time. You'll retreat when you should rise. You'll pause when you should push. You'll question when you should commit. You cannot afford a weak mind in a world that demands strength. You must train it like a warrior sharpens a blade, daily, intentionally, relentlessly. We live in a world where people are conditioned to comfort, to convenience, to quitting at the first sign of resistance. But wealth, greatness, and legacy, they are forged in fire. You don't become exceptional by accident. You become exceptional by exposure to adversity and by choosing to respond with growth, not retreat. Most people run from pain. Millionaires run toward growth even when it's wrapped in pain. They don't ask, why is this happening to me? They ask, what is this trying to teach me? That single shift in thinking is what separates those who survive life from those who lead life. Because when you train your mind to get better instead of bitter, life transforms from a battlefield into a training ground. You begin to welcome pressure because you know pressure produces diamonds. You stop fearing problems because you realize problems build mental muscle. You stop wishing for a lighter load and instead focus on building a stronger back. Training your mind to be better means taking full ownership. No more blaming circumstances, parents, the economy, the government, the boss, or the past. That's victim thinking, and victims never become victors. A millionaire mind rejects excuses like a virus. It doesn't tolerate weakness in language, in attitude, or in behavior. It says, if it is to be, it's up to me. You want to change your life, change your mindset. You want more money, build more value. You want more opportunities, become more prepared. Every external breakthrough begins with an internal transformation. But you can't transform what you won't take responsibility for. That's why most people stay stuck, not because they lack potential, but because they refuse to take responsibility for their growth. The moment you stop outsourcing your power is the moment you start walking into it. Mental training is not about positive thinking, it's about powerful thinking. It's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about being equipped to handle life when it's not. It's about mental toughness, emotional resilience, and psychological endurance. The millionaire mind doesn't crumble under stress, it adapts. It doesn't react emotionally. It responds strategically. It doesn't waste time complaining. It channels energy into solving. You must train your mind like a champion prepares for a title fight. Because life is a fight, and if you're mentally flabby, you'll fold the moment it hits back. But if you're mentally forged, you'll stand up again and again, and eventually you'll win. One of the most dangerous lies in personal growth is that it's supposed to feel good. It's not. Growth is supposed to challenge you, stretch you, and make you uncomfortable. That's how you know it's working, and your mind has to be trained to embrace that discomfort. Millionaires don't avoid the uncomfortable, they seek it. They understand that pain is part of progress, that failure is feedback, that the unknown is where the breakthrough lies. They don't wait for certainty. They move with courage, and courage is not the absence of fear, it's doing what must be done despite fear. That kind of courage is not genetic. It's built, brick by brick, day by day. You build it by doing the hard things, the boring things, the necessary things, even when no one is clapping. To train your mind is to create discipline around your thoughts. You don't let just any thought take up residence in your head. You audit your mental real estate. You ask, is this thought serving my future or sabotaging it? Because every thought is a seed, and your mind is fertile ground. Plant fear, doubt, laziness, and you reap excuses, but plant belief, purpose, and action, and you reap results. The millionaire mind is not immune to negativity. It's just quicker to replace it. It recognizes when a thought is a lie and it speaks the truth back to it. It refuses to be ruled by emotion and instead submits to purpose. Look around. Every problem you've ever faced, you've survived. Every storm that looked like the end has passed. Every time you thought you couldn't go on, you did. That's not weakness. That's power. But to access that power consistently, your mind must be trained. It must learn to lead instead of follow, to speak faith in the face of fear, to focus on the solution, not the setback, to take action instead of waiting for motivation. Motivation is a visitor, discipline is a resident, and a trained mind doesn't rely on emotion to take action. It takes action because action is who it is. So don't wish for an easier path. Wish for a stronger mind. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Create the conditions. Train your mind to focus on what's possible, not what's probable. On what's in your control, not what's out of it. Millionaires don't just build wealth. They build perspective. They see problems as projects, setbacks as setups, delays as development. That's the kind of thinking you need to develop if you want to rise above mediocrity. Because life is not waiting to get easier, it's waiting for you to get better. And here's the ultimate truth. Your circumstances don't have the final say. Your mindset does. It doesn't matter where you started, what you've lost, or who's counted you out. If you train your mind to believe, to act, and to persist, there is no limit to what you can build. Don't pray for the path to soften. Pray for your spine to stiffen. Don't complain about the mountain. Become the climber who never quits. Don't hope success will come knocking. Become so prepared, so powerful, so mentally unstoppable, that success has no choice but to break down your door. Wealth is not what you get, it's what you attract by who you are. Wealth isn't just a number in a bank account. It's a reflection of the person you've become. It doesn't start with currency, it starts with character. It's not about chasing cash, it's about becoming the kind of person that cash is drawn to. That's the part most people miss. They think money is something you earn through luck, inheritance, or working until your eyes bleed. But the truth is, real wealth is attracted, not pursued. It flows toward people of value, of discipline, of vision. It gravitates to those who have built themselves on the inside long before it shows up on the outside. Wealth is not a destination you stumble upon, it's a mirror. And when you look into that mirror, it shows you exactly who you are, not who you pretend to be. The marketplace doesn't pay you for your time. It pays you for the value you bring in that time, and value is something you build, refine, and sharpen every single day. You've got to understand wealth is more than financial. It's mental, emotional, spiritual. It's about how you think, how you show up, how you handle pressure, how you serve others, how you lead, how you speak, and how you walk into a room. That energy, that frequency, that's your wealth. Millionaires don't walk in with desperation. They walk in with certainty. They know what they bring to the table, and they never beg for a seat. They build their own table. They don't just accumulate money. They multiply it because they've multiplied themselves. They've turned their minds into value machines. They don't depend on one stream. They become rivers of ideas, solutions, and impact. And when you become valuable, you never have to worry about income. It finds you. Now, let's get brutally honest. If you're broke financially, chances are something is bankrupt internally. Your habits, your beliefs, your standards, your decisions. Money is simply a scorecard of how well you've trained your mind, how well you've served others, and how well you've managed your own energy. It's not about working harder, it's about thinking better. You don't make millions by stacking hours. You make millions by stacking value, and value starts with you. Are you learning daily? Are you leveling up your skills? Are you solving real problems? Are you thinking long term? Because wealth doesn't respond to short-term hustle, it responds to long-term vision backed by relentless execution. And if you're waiting for the world to make you rich before you change your mindset, you've already lost. You become rich in your mind before you see a single dollar. That's the law. You have to upgrade your internal thermostat. If you see yourself as $50,000 thinker, your income will never surpass your identity. Even if you get lucky and make a little more, you'll sabotage it back down to the level you believe you deserve. That's why the first investment isn't in stocks, real estate, or crypto. It's in you. Your beliefs are your ceiling, and if you don't smash through that ceiling, you'll never rise. The millionaire mind never settles. It stretches. It looks at the gap between where you are and where you want to be, and instead of shrinking, it expands. It reads, it listens, it learns. It surrounds itself with greatness. It eliminates noise. It constantly asks, how can I grow? How can I be more useful? How can I think bigger? Because value creation is the true currency of wealth. Look at the people who win at the highest levels. Their bank accounts didn't grow by accident. They grew because they grew. They outthought, outplanned, outlasted, and more than anything, they believed everyone else. They believed in their vision when no one else did. They believed they were worthy of abundance before anyone handed them a dollar. They didn't wait for the economy, the government, or the job market to hand them success. They took ownership. They trained their minds to see opportunity where others saw problems. They became so valuable that money became a natural consequence of their contribution. But let's talk about this clearly. Wealth isn't just about making money. It's about keeping it, multiplying it, and managing it wisely. And that requires mindset too. Most people sabotage wealth because they've never trained their mind to handle it. They let fear, impulse, ego, or emotion control their decisions. That's why so many people win the lottery and go broke. Because money without mindset is a disaster. But when you become a person of wealth on the inside, you no longer fear money. You respect it, you grow it, you use it to impact, because now it's no longer about the money, it's about the mission, and that's the level you must operate on. Wealth is attracted to clarity. If you're vague in your goals, scattered in your focus, and inconsistent in your actions, don't expect abundance. Millionaires are laser focused. They know exactly where they're going. They don't dabble. They decide. They don't try. They commit. They don't wish. They work. And they make no apology for thinking big, because small thinking never built empires. You must train your mind to see abundance, speak abundance, and walk in abundance, even before you see a dime. That's how you shift from scarcity to success. Not by waiting for proof, but by becoming the proof. And don't misunderstand. Wealth doesn't make you better. It simply amplifies who you already are. If you're generous, it gives you more to give. If you're disciplined, it expands your freedom. If you're wise, it multiplies your impact. But if you're reckless, insecure, or small-minded, it only increases the chaos. That's why your inner world must be clean before your outer world grows. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be intentional. Be intentional about who you are becoming. Be intentional about what you allow into your mind, your heart, and your environment, because wealth flows to alignment, not chaos. So train your mind every day to think like the person who already has the results you want. Speak like them, move like them, decide like them, because the moment you align your identity with your destiny, you will begin to attract everything you've been chasing. Not because you're lucky, but because you're finally ready. You've become the kind of person wealth can trust. You've become the kind of person abundance runs to. And at that point, you won't just be rich in money. You'll be rich in purpose, power, and peace.